Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to the second episode of All Things Sudoku. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Trevor, and I do the commentary for these videos as well as all the editing. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how I got into Sudoku. So looking back, the main reason I wanted to get into Sudoku is because I was sick of relying on the internet for everything that involved gaming. The reason I say I was sick of relying on the internet is because my internet speed to this day is extremely slow. Sometimes due to where I live, the bad weather would knock out the power and or the internet connection itself, so playing online games obviously would be a bad decision. Therefore, I decided to get into games that didn't require internet. I was also kind of starting to get into puzzle games because I decided to go ahead and play the first Portal game and then play Portal 2, and I just really loved those games. Like, the humor in the game was awesome, and I also loved the fact that you were pretty much in like an escape room, just looking around, seeing what all was available, and it's like, okay, well, this obviously has to work with this in order to get me to the next level. So puzzle games just really started to connect with me at this point, so I think that's really what kind of got me to look into Sudoku also. I don't exactly remember where I first heard about Sudoku, but I keep thinking that, like, maybe my mom was the one that told me about it, but I can't really remember exactly. But, obviously, like I said before, my interest in puzzle games was starting to spike at this point, so that's what really got me to look into it. And another little fact about me, when I was in school, I absolutely loved math. Like, I was that type of person that would pretty much in a way like hyper focus on math, and that was the first homework that I'd always get done too, because just I loved like looking at everything that the problem presented and then just thinking to myself, okay, how am I going to find the solution? So in a way, I think just like I said, that getting into puzzle games plus that love for math kind of got me like, you know what, maybe I should look into Sudoku, because Sudoku involved like a lot of different strategies, a lot of different methods, a lot of different, just all kinds of different ways that you can solve the puzzle. And in future videos on this channel, I will be going in depth on those methods. But yeah, I think just all the ways you can solve the puzzle, plus again, like I said, I love finding the solution to things. That's why I love math. Yeah, it just connected with me perfectly. So when I was first getting into Sudoku, like I said, I wanted something that was more offline. So instead of looking for like any websites or apps to play Sudoku on, even though I do that now, I just didn't have any way to play Sudoku. But I remembered my parents did have like old newspapers, so I ended up grabbing as many of those newspapers as I could and just cutting out all the Sudoku puzzles that I could. However, I never really did solve these puzzles because obviously at this point I was just getting into Sudoku, and the puzzles were intermediate level, so obviously if I'm a beginner, intermediate's not the best place to start. So a little bit after I went through the trouble of cutting out all of these Sudoku puzzles and realizing that I can't solve them, my parents decided to go ahead and just buy me a Sudoku puzzle book, which I did not expect them to do at all, but they did. So, and when I started doing the easier puzzles, I would take a separate sheet of paper and I would write down every possible number for each individual cell on the Sudoku puzzle. And the way I did this, when I see people like kind of create their own Sudoku grid, sometimes they'll have like the top row like with letters, and then the columns with numbers, kind of like what it shows here on the screen. And I would do this when I was writing down every solution. Like, I would write down, okay, A1, here's all the possible numbers that can go in there. A2, here's all the possible numbers. And writing that on an individual piece of paper really just kind of had me so freaking lost that I didn't know what to do. But the reason I would do that on a separate sheet of paper is because my handwriting was kind of big, so I wasn't really good at like writing really tiny numbers in each cell, like to show the possible solutions. And then I also wouldn't like go through the trouble of erasing each part of the cell, like each number in the cell, just to put in one number. So I don't know, I guess it was kind of like just in a way me being lazy, but also me just being really inefficient at the time. But again, I was just a beginner, so after a while I just kind of said, screw it, I'm gonna stop like writing down all the solutions on a separate piece of paper. Why not just go ahead and look for a Sudoku app to play on, because some Sudoku apps you can even play offline. So I figured, screw it, if I'm not wanting anything that requires internet connection, I can still just see if there's an app that you can play offline. And I found a Sudoku app just called like Sudoku Classic Sudoku Puzzle or something like that. It'll be here on the screen. And this was actually a really great app to introduce me to Sudoku, because I think the very first puzzle I did, or like the second puzzle I did, the game introduced me to a method called crosshatching. Well, the app calls it crosshatching, it might be called something else to other people, but pretty much it's where you look at one number and you like eliminate the whole like row or column, and then obviously that number is going to eliminate another row or column, and also going to eliminate all possibilities in that cell, as most people know with Sudoku. But if you find that number eliminating a certain row or column, you can look for another number that eliminates another row or column, and eventually like the numbers will like cross over in eliminating certain rows and columns to the point where you notice you only have one solution. This works really well with beginner puzzles and easy puzzles, but once you kind of start getting intermediate, hard, and expert level puzzles, that's when you're going to have to do a lot more complicated methods. But as of right now, this is the method I recommend anybody try if they're trying to get into Sudoku. Ever since I learned this method, I kind of just went down the rabbit hole of learning about as much as I could about Sudoku, and eventually, like by practicing one method at a time, I got to the point where I was able to solve intermediate puzzles no problem, hard puzzles, and then I got to expert level puzzles. So yeah, I just felt really good about myself, because at first it was like, man, I can't solve anything, I freaking suck. And then once I got into those beginner puzzles with the cross-hatching method, I'm like, wow, I'm solving these so freaking fast, like I need to try harder puzzles. And then once I got to the harder puzzles, it's like I got to that mindset again of like, man, I just suck at this. But eventually, once I started to finally understand all the other Sudoku methods, it's like it just played right into my world. Like I said, I love finding solutions for things, I love solving puzzles and all these different strategies. It's like, yeah, there's so many different things that I can do to solve the puzzle. And the thing that I love about Sudoku also is just once you start getting those like strategies down to a T, where like you know how to eliminate so many different possibilities when there's hundreds of possibilities in the puzzle itself, eventually it just kind of like causes a chain reaction. And I just find that so satisfying, how it's like, well, this number goes here, but then that means this number goes here, now this number goes here, this number goes here, and then like all of a sudden your puzzle went from hundreds of solutions to there, it's complete. And I just love that so much. So yeah, that's basically how I got myself into Sudoku. This video might have been a little all over the place. If it was kind of hard to follow, or if things seemed kind of strange, just let me know in the comments, and I will also just say that I apologize for that, because like I wasn't really fully prepared when I was making this video. I was just like, you know what, I'm going to tell people how I got into Sudoku, and then again it just kind of went all over the place. It kind of seems to me like it went all over the place. If to you the video seems fine or it seems well structured, let me know in the comments as well, because feedback really is important to me on this channel, because I want these videos to be the best quality they can be for you guys. So again, just let me know. And yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, remember to leave a like, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let me know in the comments too, like what got you into Sudoku. Is your story kind of similar to mine? Is it completely different? Like just go ahead and let me know like anything that got you into Sudoku, or if you're into other puzzle games and what got you into that. Remember to follow the other socials as well: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, all linked in the description. And remember to tune in Friday also, because I will be talking about another Sudoku method that I learned. I think that one I learned from the Sudoku guy, but anyway, yeah, we'll talk about that when that video comes out. But until then, I will talk to you guys next time.